So I want to be clear. I'm responding to the early part of Aaron and Tommy talking to one another. For the people who are just joining in, totally not clued in. Essentially, Aaron, until recently, ran the Aftermath Foundation, dedicated to helping people get out of Scientology. Tommy is a friend and ally. He does a lot of subjects, including addiction. And there's been a lot of speculation and charges that Aaron did certain things in LA and other places, and that's dragging down the credibility of the anti-Scientology community. And here he just confronts these things pretty head on.
I do not have, nor have I ever had, any substance problem of any kind whatsoever, including alcohol. But immediately I go, but that's what someone with a substance problem would say. So the fact that we're even having to have the conversation feels like I'm already in trouble. But that's why I want to have the conversation, because there is a freedom to being able to just let it all hang out in the open, good or bad. People judge how they will. And
so again, I'm just dealing with the early part because I just want to get into the, quote, credibility of Julianne, who's accusing Aaron of many things, being physically abusive and also being essentially a drug addict. And Aaron is clarifying he's no such thing. He drinks and takes drugs. However, he did take the mushrooms because he wanted to deal with anger issues. Thought it was a good way to deal with that. That is it. He doesn't really consume drugs and or drinking regularly, so he's not an addict. But again, this is going from his personal testimony. But there are a few places that this doesn't match what Julianne put out in a lot of email messages and other texts. Again, I want to be careful with her identity, but essentially, she has shared photos where she's injured, but she alleged bruises all over her body. She's not shared that, so that's a little suspicious. Also, just the timing of it with the Danny Masterson trial seems a little convenient, and as Aaron explains, in one of these incidents, it was her bringing, quote, the drugs to him.
Ate it. And then she's literally screaming at me, eat it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? She's like, eat it. And then she just ate the whole thing. Like, so I'm only mentioning that instance because that was an instance where there was the mushroom chocolate bar was there. Some of it was consumed, but that wasn't the night of May 18th. The night of May 18th.
That's before the trial.
Yeah, that Molly Malone's thing was like a couple weeks earlier.
So the obvious question is this like an OSA operation? Was he being set up? Basically Scientology to put him in a really bad situation, record it, put it on videotape, and basically destroy his credibility, and so on and so forth. Again, to me, this just clarifies further what happened in LA as well as his general background. And also, I judge primarily the anti-Scientology people through information. But others will say, no, it matters who is saying what, and that authenticity as well as personal knowledge does matter. And again, this doesn't look good in terms of perceptions. Do I think this is an outright OSA operation? No, I don't think so. However, I'd be very surprised if they didn't play a little bit of role in this, because it does feel like she's being led on or she's being guided in a certain way. So maybe just people around her are OSA people and they're sort of prodding her to do certain messages. And I would say this still makes Mike Rinder look really bad. Even if this is no direct thing by him to get rid of Aaron, he knows OSA well enough that he should suspect, yeah, this feels like OSA in the background, and he should have been more helpful to Aaron. So it just feels like there's a rivalry between them and we're getting sort of caught in the middle. But again, it is mostly a perception issue. I do respect people who are totally anti-drug and they don't like drugs, period. That's not me. I do believe more in decriminalization, more in treatment, but that is my perspective. I think he did a good job of clarifying some ambiguities about what happened. Open-minded, so presumably later on she will give more detailed information herself. But at this point, it just feels like a very shaky story to get rid of Aaron and destroy his credibility.